All right, let's have a serious conversation. Should you switch brands? There's a bear crap in the woods. Yes, you should switch brands. After doing this for 10 or 12 years and having more than 60 different motorcycles and 8 or 9 different brands, I've come to the conclusion that many of us are sticking with the same bike, the same model, and the same brand for way too long. I'm gonna give you 4 reasons in this video why I think you would be doing yourself a favor to switch brands every now and again, because maybe you're too much stuck in a rut. And we're going to get you out of that rut today. So here are 4 reasons why I think everybody should be switching brands. If you've only ever had one brand or one bike, it is high time for you to switch and learn some things. The number 1 reason for me to switch brands is because you learn something every time. I specifically remember years ago when I was at another job, I was going on a trip somewhere and I was at the airport and I bumped into somebody on a shuttle who knew me, and we started talking dirt bikes. And he said, "Hey, this such and such bike is the best bike ever made." I think it was like a Honda 450 or something. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, tell me about it. How many bikes have you had?" And he'd only ever had that bike. He'd bought that bike like in 2006, and then he bought it again in 2010, and then he bought it again in 2014. And he's like, "I know that's the best bike out there." And in my head, I'm going, how would you know it's the best bike in the world, let alone for you, if it's the only one you've ever ridden? I mean, think about it. If you were dating and you only dated one person and you said, "I know this is the best person for me," the people out there who have dated 20, 30, 40 people are like, how would you know that? It's the same thing here. There are things we can learn. If you have never had another bike and you've never had another brand, you literally don't know what you don't know. You know, the same thing can be said whether we're talking 4 strokes or 2 strokes. If you've only ever had one model and one brand, even though you may really like it, that bike or that brand, you don't know it's the best thing for you because it's the only thing you've experienced. The second reason I think everybody should change brands every so often is because it makes things new and exciting. So oftentimes we just kind of get locked into the brand, to the bike. We kind of know the bike inside and out, and in some ways that takes some of the fun out of it. I've really enjoyed getting to know a new platform, whether it's a Kawasaki or whether it's a Honda or a Shirko or a Beta. That newness where you're like, I wonder how they did this, and I wonder how they did this, and I wonder how it handles in this situation, and I wonder how it handles in that situation. That keeps it fresh and exciting. You know, you're gonna find out that some bikes and some frames and some chassis do better out in the faster stuff. It's a little bit more stable at speed. Some bikes are kind of worked in there so that they're better and they're more nimble in the woods, and they're faster, lighter, more twitchy, that type of stuff. And you're getting to learn all of this stuff about this bike or about this brand, and it just keeps things kind of fresh. The third reason I think everybody should switch brands every once in a while is it keeps you challenged and it keeps you on your toes. Again, you don't like kind of roll down into that rut. You're forced to challenge certain ideas that you had. You're forced to look at yourself and look at your body position and see what you're doing and see how that translates into this motorcycle. So it's not only you learning a new bike, it's you challenging yourself and your technique and the things that you're doing on the motorcycle to actually make it work, and it's fantastic. You're gonna have to learn new maintenance tasks. Maybe it's a different way to change the oil, or maybe this thing is different. Maybe it's a hydraulic clutch, which you've never had before, and now you have to learn how to bleed that, or bleed the brakes, or you're like, oh, I knew the Brembo brakes really well. Now I'm gonna learn a little bit about Nissan brakes. There's all of these things in here where it really just keeps you sharp and keeps you on your toes and keeps you learning and broadening your horizons there. It forces you to maybe ride the bike a little bit differently and not get so lazy. I see so many people that are so comfortable and so set in their ways because they've just had this bike and then they bought it again 2 years later, or they bought it again 3 years later, and then they change all these things with the bike and they can't even ride someone else's bike. They're so ingrained with the model or the brand that they have, it really makes it difficult for them to ride any other bike proficiently. And I think we need to get away from that. The fourth reason I think that people should be switching brands more often is it just gives us a broader perspective of what we like and what we don't like. And that actually helps the sport, because not only are we more confident in our choices, and not only have we spread our money out over these different manufacturers that's helped the whole thing and pushed the whole industry forward, we also come as a voice of reason and a voice of wisdom for other people coming up in the sport behind us. People inside your riding group that maybe have questions, and you can become that source of information. There's absolutely no reason why people couldn't be going to you rather than going to me or going to some other person, and you are going to become that sage rider, that person with the wisdom and the person with the experience and the person with the background in this to be able to answer people's questions about this brand or that brand or the other brand. And you'll also be able to break down some of these stupid narratives that exist on the internet, where it's like we're painting with this super broad brush about certain brands, like, oh, that brand isn't reliable, or this brand isn't good here, or that brand isn't good there. You will actually know, as I know, that every single one of these brands makes a really good dirt bike. Maybe you don't like some of the choices that they've made, but overall, they are freaking phenomenal dirt bikes on the whole from every one of these manufacturers. And you can bust down some of these stupid narratives that are not true about some of these manufacturers. You can insert Honda, KTM, Kawasaki, Yamaha, Shurko, Beta. You will be able to speak with authority that, no, this doesn't suck because I've had it, or yes, this is an issue over here because I've had it. And I think that is a huge thing for you, for your circle of riding friends, and for the sport as a whole. You've heard the phrase, knowledge is power, and you will have the knowledge and you will have the power, and you'll have so much more of it if you broaden your horizons and actually switch brands from time to time. You're going to learn and grow, and it's going to be great. So those are my 4 reasons why I think more people should be switching brands more often. It's one of the probably the biggest benefits of the last 10 years for me, is just being able to ride all these different bikes and all these different brands and get a perspective on what's good, what's great, what could maybe, use some improvement. And the more I do this and the more I switch bikes, the more comfortable I become with all the brands, and the more appreciative I come to be about all of the decisions that these various manufacturers have made. This is an amazing sport, and we have some amazing manufacturers that have made incredible dirt bikes, and they've made leaps and bounds on these things, and it's absolutely fantastic. And the only reason I know this is because I'm not locking in on one brand. Sure, I like to keep a KTM in the shop, in my garage, because they're the best overall bike for what I'm trying to do overall. They have more models to choose from, but that doesn't mean that there aren't some amazing Shurkos and amazing Hondas, amazing Yamahas, and I love all of them. And I would have no idea. If I just locked in on one brand, I would have no idea. So you can become that rider. You can help broaden our sport. You can help build the sport just by simply opening your eyes and maybe switching a bike or switching a brand every now and again. And buy a blue one next time. Buy a red one the time after that. Buy a green one the time after that. Buy an orange one the time after that. You see what I'm saying? You're going to help yourself and you're going to help the sport. It's pretty amazing. So thanks for tuning in. That's what I have for you guys today. If you want to support Dirt Bike Channel, probably the best way to do it is to use the links for Rocky Mountain ATV. It's down in the description of this video, or it's over on my website, dirtbikechannel.com. Rocky Mountain ATV is an amazing company. They do free shipping on orders over $75. And if you use my links, it doesn't cost you anything, but it does certainly help Dirt Bike Channel. From time to time, I do sweepstakes where I give away motorcycles. I don't have one going on right now, but I should have one probably in June of this year in 2020. So stay tuned for that. If you've ever bought anything from me, or you've donated on PayPal, Patreon, or use my links for Rocky Mountain ATV, you are the reason why this still works, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you have any questions, you can always email me. It's Kyle@dirtbikechannel.com, or you can send an email to my customer service inbox, which is customerservice@dirtbikechannel.com. There is a contact me or contact Kyle page up on my website, and so you can go there and ask any questions you want, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So thanks so much. Hope you're having an amazing day, and leave a single track.